Tonight on CTV, we'll take a look at the upcoming ski season as well as how bison and wolves are being reintroduced into Colorado.
Then we will get right into the reopening of Rocky Mountain National Park and the replacement of CSU's symptom checker.
All this and more on CTV starting now.
Good evening, Rams. I'm Robbie Patla.
And I'm Ren Wadsworth. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Nearly a week after the 2020 presidential election, news surrounding the event continues to turn heads.
Amidst a global pandemic was one of the many reasons the U.S. made history during the 2020 election. More than 160 million citizens voted, topping the voter turnout of any previous race in America. Colorado was in the top 5 states of voter turnout with a 77% turnout rate. On November 9th, professors at Colorado State University's Department of Political Science held a webinar in which they discussed this election from their perspective. Professor Courtney Daum stated that we are learning more about elections now than we ever have before.
One of the things that's really interesting is that we're really starting to become aware of the fact that the way that federal elections are conducted in the U.S. actually varies extensively from state to state.
Daum's statement could have a point as to why certain states in the U.S. are still counting votes today. According to some professors, there are several states that may be counting votes until November 17, which is approximately 2 weeks after they initially started tallying. The rate of voter turnout this year is largely due to the amount of new voting options that were introduced because of COVID-19. Professor and Department Chair Robert Duffy said these methods have been questioned. However, both political parties can benefit.
You could make a political argument that people on both sides of the aisle might come to see that making it easier to vote doesn't cut one way to the advantage of one party and the disadvantage of another.
On November 7th, after a nail-biting week of votes being casted and ballot results being calculated, former Vice President Joe Biden made headways by being announced the president-elect.
This election certainly has been a monumental time for the country and will most likely impact how future elections take place.
As winters continue to shorten due to the changing climate, ski resorts across Colorado are asking researchers at Colorado State University to help save their seasons. When thinking of their seasons, ski resorts take into account the length of the winter, but new research suggests they should also pay closer attention to things such as snow depth, overnight temperature, and avalanche mitigation. Colorado State University-based Colorado Climate Center has several ideas on how to help ski resorts open for longer and to be smarter about it while they are open. Properly informed planning can help ensure the survival of this critical regional industry, which stimulates the economy through tourism and jobs. As the research continues, the ski lifts are still planning on opening for skiers and snowboarders alike.
The Rocky Mountain National Park has partly reopened. The national park closed on October 22nd due to the Cameron Peak and East troublesome fire, burning through nearly 29,000 acres inside the park. As of November 6th, roads and trails in the Wild Basin, Longs Peak, Lily Lake, Twin Sisters, and Lumpy Ridge areas will reopen. However, eastern areas such as Bear Lake, parts of Highway 36 past Beaver Meadows and Deer Ridge Junction, and all western regions of the park will remain closed until further notice. Park staff will continue to monitor fire activity and urge that any visitors be aware of the dangers that still exist in that area.
Those traveling out of state for fall break may have one less thing to worry about as free coronavirus testing kiosks open at Denver International Airport. The Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment partnered with Curative, a COVID testing organization, to increase testing in long-term facilities and rural communities. There is also a kiosk located at the University of Northern Colorado, open to students and members of the public for walk-up testing. While the DIA testing kiosks currently are only for employees of the airport, there are plans in place to add more based on demands in communities, so a COVID testing kiosk may soon be available to those traveling to and from Colorado.
Colorado State University's spending on research projects reached $407 million for 2020, a 2% increase over last year and a new record. Due to the pandemic, CSU's research team had to shut down 432 projects in April. Since the start of the pandemic, however, CSU received more than $16 million for COVID-related research projects. But that's not the only thing they have used this funding for. During this year, CSU has worked with scientists who have created 116 new inventions and has overseen 32 license agreements and 69 patents. Research continues strongly and will only expand in the coming months.
Surges in COVID-19 cases across the United States have caused many states to tighten their social restrictions, and Colorado is one of them. A home-by-10 order was issued Friday night by Mayor Hancock. Under the new order, liquor stores will be required to close by 10 at night. People who are out between 10 and 5 in the morning could face a citation. The citation may include a fine up to $1,000 and possible jail time. However, this is just for those who are out at a time that would be deemed for non-essential activities. Hancock says that this curfew is being implemented in the hopes to lower the curve of rising coronavirus cases and prevent another safer at home order. However, only time will tell how closely Coloradoans follow the curfew and how well it works in combating COVID-19.
Once again, Colorado State University has been ranked one of the most sustainable campuses by the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education. According to Source CSU, the Sustainable Campus Index recognizes top-performing colleges and universities in 17 categories. CSU was ranked #1 sustainable doctoral institutions, surpassing such campuses as Stanford University and Cornell. On the same index, CSU ranked #1 in curriculum and remained in the top 10 for such categories as public engagement, campus engagement, and research. This recognition is evidence of Colorado State's significant efforts in the community, especially when it comes to sustainability.
With COVID-19, the forest fires in Colorado, and the recent presidential election, it's easy to feel a bit of stress, especially as a college student. But one organization at Colorado State University is trying to share a message to help students who need it. Social distancing, online classes, and the cold weather has turned the Colorado State University campus into a quiet, empty site. But Jessica Sherwood was determined to bring life back to the school. Jessica Sherwood is the president of Active Minds, a mental health advocacy organization at CSU. Jessica and Active Minds had an unorthodox idea about how to send a message to students.
At the beginning of the semester, we had the idea of making some mural on campus, just given that campus kind of turned into a little bit of a sad place to be for a lot of us. And so we thought a mural on campus would be a good way to bring some positivity back to campus. And so kind of our slogan with Active Minds is here for you. And we thought that was super appropriate to make for the mural. And we just had the idea of using sticky notes and putting it on the BSB windows that we know a lot of students walk by and see. So we thought it was kind of the perfect opportunity to put that up, make a cute little piece of art on campus that lots of students got to see and become a little bit happier after seeing.
The window behind me is the one where just weeks ago members of Active Minds spelled out the words "here for you" in sticky notes, just like this. Jessica believes that now, more than ever, it's important to focus on your mental health and of those around you.
I think especially in a time like this where we're all encouraged to be so isolated from other people, I think it's more important than ever to find a community like Active Minds that really helps you facilitate connections with other people. And, you know, especially with the quarantine and the pandemic, mental health has become an issue for a lot more people. A lot more people are feeling that they're really struggling maintaining that on their own.
Even though the mural was only temporary, the students who saw the message will remember the work that Active Minds and Jessica did. Ren Wadsworth, CTV, Channel 11. Active Minds is planning several internal and external events in the future. You can find more information about the group at csuactiveminds@gmail.com.
The Pandemic Preparedness Team has issued a new COVID-19 reporter to replace the daily symptom checker. Last week, the Preparedness Team sent an email to all faculty and students introducing the simpler and more comprehensive tool. Now the community of CSU will only have to fill out the reporter if they experience any symptoms of COVID-19. According to the team's email, any members of CSU must report symptoms immediately through the reporter, regardless of if they plan to come to campus in person or not. CSU also hired additional public health officials to maximize the effectiveness of the new reporting system. Students and faculty can find the new symptom reporter on RamWeb if they ever need it.
Last week, we talked about many of the propositions Colorado voters voted on, one of those being Proposition 114, which decided whether or not to reintroduce gray wolves to Colorado. However, what we didn't discuss was the possible economic impact of reintroducing the predator to the Centennial State. While the proposition narrowly passed in Colorado, many ranchers are concerned that gray wolves returning to Colorado may mean bad news for their livestock and a decrease in profit. However, some would argue that the good these wolves can do for the environment outweighs the potential bad. Dana Hogue, a professor in the Department of Agricultural and Resource Economics at Colorado State University, believes the societal value of wolves boils down to recognizing 4 economic values. They include consumptive, or revenue surrounding hunting wolves, non-consumptive, or tourism to see wolves, option, or willingness to pay an amount to ensure that one day you might get to see a wolf, and existence value, or wanting to know that wolves are there whether or not you actually get to see them. While these are only speculations, only time will tell the true impact of Prop 114 and the reintroduction of gray wolves to Colorado.
Tomorrow, November 11th, is Veterans Day, and the Veterans Plaza of Northern Colorado are paying tribute to our nation's heroes. The organization is displaying veterans who were nominated by friends or family at the plaza via touchscreen monitor. The Veterans Plaza currently has 5,000 veterans listed and are hoping to reach their goal of 10,000. Nomination forms and currently listed veterans can be found on their website at veteransplazanoco.org. That's all the hard-hitting news we have for you tonight, Rams.
But don't go anywhere, because Krista McAllister has your scoop in entertainment coming right up.